As everybody knows, Conrad is a romantic on the side. He might not exactly admire savages clapping their hands and stamping their feet, but they have at least the merit of being in their place, unlike this dog in a parody of breeches. For Conrad, things being in their place is of the utmost importance. Quote, fine fellows, cannibals, in their place, end quote. He tells us pointedly, tragedy begins when the things leave their accustomed place, like Europe leaving its safe stronghold between the policeman and the baker, to, like a peep into the heart of darkness. Before the story likes us into the Congo basin proper, we are given this nice little vignette as an example of things in their place. Now and then a boat from the shore gave one a momentary contact with reality. It was paddled by blackfellows. You could see from afar the white of their eyeballs glistening. They shouted, saying, their bodies streamed with perspiration. They had faces like grotesque masks. These chaps, but they had bone, muscle, a wild vitality, an intense energy of movement that was as natural and hue as the surf along their coast. They wanted no excuse for being there. They were a great comfort to look at. Towards the end of the story, Conrad lavishes a whole page, quite unexpectedly, on an African woman who has obviously been some kind of mistress to Mr. Kurtz, and now presides, if I may be permitted a little liberty, like a formidable mystery over the inexorable imminence of his departure. See, she was savage and superb, wild-eyed and magnificent. She stood looking at us without a stir, and like the wilderness itself, with an air of brooding over an inscrutable purpose. This Amazon is drawn in considerable detail, albeit of a predictable nature, for two reasons. First, she is in her place, and so can win Conrad's special brand of approval. And second, she fulfills a structural requirement of the story, a savage counterpart to the refined European woman who will step forth to end the story. She came forward all in black, with a pale head, floating toward me in the dusk. She was in mourning. She took both my hands in hers and murmured, quote, I had heard you were coming, end quote. She had a mature capacity for fidelity, for belief, for suffering. The difference in the attitude of the novelist to these two women is conveyed in too many direct and subtle ways to need elaboration. But perhaps the most significant difference is the one implied in the author's bestowal of human expression to the one and withholding it from the other. It is clearly not part of Conrad's purpose to confer language on the, quote, rudimentary souls of Africa, end quote. In place of speech they made, quote, a violent babble of uncouth sounds, end quote. They, quote, exchanged short grunting phrases, end quote, even among themselves. But most of the time they were too busy with their frenzy. There are two occasions in the book, however, when Conrad departs somewhat from his practice and confers speech, even English speech, on the savages. The first occurs when cannibalism gets the better of them. Quote, catch him, end quote, he snapped with a bloodshot widening of his eyes and a flash of sharp teeth. Quote, catch him, give him to us, end quote. Quote, to you, eh? End quote. I asked, quote, what would you do with them? Eat 'em, he said curtly.